With WWE accused of trying to break up a marriage and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. On X, former WWE star Ricochet was asked if he would bring back his masked character from Lucha Underground, Prince Puma, to which he wrote, "I dunno, it's not my gimmick, it belongs to Lucha Underground. Low key, the only reason people liked Prince Puma was because he won, lol." For information regarding the TV rights deal negotiations between AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery, Ringside News wrote that the pro wrestling world relies heavily on television deals, as fans are the core of the industry. Despite AEW President Tony Khan's public optimism about securing a great new television deal for AEW, the company is yet to finalize anything. As time progresses, the finalization of this deal seems to be drawing nearer. Sean Ross Sapp reported on Fightful Select that a new WBD AEW deal is expected but is not done, according to sources. This is encouraging news for fans of All Elite Wrestling, as the company's current deal is nearing its expiration. On July 23rd, reports suggested that a WBD AEW deal was imminent, with some sources indicating an agreement in principle. There has been no confirmation on whether this new deal will include a max streaming clause. However, sources close to WBD have stated that nothing is imminent in the next few days. Neither company plans to announce a new deal immediately, and the framework of a deal has not been agreed upon by both parties. Both AEW and WBD expect a new deal to be reached and the relationship to continue, with both sides maintaining an amicable stance. Tony Khan and David Zaslav are scheduled to meet in Paris for the Olympics. This meeting has been planned for months, but it is not guaranteed that a deal will be finalized there, though discussions about the deal are expected. Other sources have indicated that an offer has likely been made, but no agreement is in place as of today. There was an offer from Warner Bros. Discovery to AEW months ago, but it had not been agreed upon and was still being negotiated. Claiming that AEW is boring without him on programming, MJF said this to Sports Illustrated: "I've been carrying this company for 5 years on my back. People need MJF. It's that simple. This company needs MJF. Fortunately, they've got me. What's this company without MJF? It's boring. This is the most people have talked about my company in months. Thank me later. If you're not going to give me my just due now, you'll have to when it's all said and done. I'm the most interesting man in professional wrestling. I've been that way since I laced up a pair of boots. There are two types of people: the ones who admit it, I'm probably the greatest overall package in the history of the sport, and then there are people who want to pretend they know better. They won't admit what's right in front of them. For years, people said John Cena was not the greatest of all time. They said Randy Orton was boring. Those people actually exist in the world. Those are the type of people who see mediocrity when they look in the mirror, and you can quote me on that." Asked about making a return to WWE down the line, Caitlyn told Developmentally Speaking, "I think it would be cool to do something at some point. I'm in the best shape ever physically now. I actually went, not last year, but the year before, to the Royal Rumble, I think. WWE called me to come out. I ended up not doing anything on the show, but I'm open to it." With a new CM Punk t-shirt released that says "Clobber McIntyre Punk," Drew McIntyre took to X and quoted Punk and mocked him over this apparent hypocrisy, writing, "I ain't ever had to put another man's name on a shirt to sell it," aging as well as, "Hey Colt Cabana, how you doing?" Touching on the possibility of him making an appearance at AEW's All-In event in London, commentator for the company Jim Ross noted on his Grilling JR podcast, "It makes me feel good to know that people still give a because I damn sure give a I hope to be in London. It's not a guarantee yet, but it's something that I'm shooting for. Last year I worked a couple of matches, that was plenty, so we'll see how it works out this time. Tony Khan's been extremely fair with me, and I want to be extremely fair with him." As one of Sting's sons, Steven made his in-ring debut in AEW during his father's retirement match. Darby Allin provided an update on his training, telling Uproxx he's still training. "He stays outside in the tent in my front yard. And then, yeah, it's still coming. Definitely want to take our time with that and not rush anything, because we don't want it to look like, oh, Sting's son's getting a handout and we're just going to rush him in there and this guy sucks really bad in the ring. No, we want to make sure he's ready to rock, Whenever he steps foot in the ring, you only get one shot at a first impression." Revealing who he believes is responsible for the downfall of WCW, former star of the company and WWE Hall of Famer Scott Steiner said, "This too Sportskeeda wrestling. Anybody that says anything different don't know what they're talking about. You got a glimpse of some of it on Who Killed WCW. It was like former Turner Entertainment president Brad Siegel, all the higher-ups." In that same interview, Scott Steiner talked about the main roster run of his nephew, Bron Breakker, as he said, "So far, it's going great, I think. We'll see what happens, but so far, they're pushing him good." Stating his intention to be a part of Summerslam, where he should defend his Intercontinental title against Bron Breakker, Sami Zayn told Wrestling Inc., "No matter how many times you've done it, in my opinion, and we can play cool and act like it's another day at the office, it's not. It's 50,000 people. That's cool. I don't care who you are. I've never actually been on SummerSlam. People don't know that because I've had a really pretty decent career, and especially these last few years, I've had a really good WrestleMania track record. If you look back at all my WrestleManias, especially over the last 3 years. But if you go back my entire career, I've had a great WrestleMania track record. SummerSlam, I've never even been on the show. I did work one SummerSlam pre-show, I want to say maybe 2015 or something, it was 2016. And believe it or not, it was actually the Dudley Boys' last ever match as a team. So we do all that distinction myself and Adrian Neville at the time, Pac as he's known today. Responding to fans wanting to see her pushed in WWE, Zelina Vega said this on Raw Talk. "I think that's exactly it. I am a threat. They know that. Just like Dominic Mysterio knew that when he got involved in my championship match against Liv Morgan. He knew that if he didn't get involved, I would be standing here as champion. That's a dream that I'm not giving up on. The WWE Universe has never given up on me. I've been trending now for 5 days because they are so ready for a change, just like I am. It's time that I start proving myself right, shutting people up, but most of all, proving the WWE Universe right as well." Speaking about the state of the women's divisions in combat sports and WWE, Ronda Rousey told Scott Fishman of TV Insider, "I think women in combat sports everywhere are succeeding more than ever before because people are taking them seriously. I think that being able to prove that women can fight and be exciting and dynamic, there has been this ripple effect on boxing, UFC, pro wrestling, and even Olympic wrestling. Women's combat sports are exploding everywhere, where fighting like a girl was an insult, and it's not that anymore. I've been running around doing the mom thing and doing all these things that I haven't been able to watch wrestling as much as I used to." I saw a post from Natty the other day that they had a card or half of the matches on the card were women. That was the last real hurdle for us to get to have equal representation in the programming time. I'm sure the matches themselves didn't get the time the men got for the most part, but all these steps forward make it so much easier for those after us to continue to start where we left off rather than all the way to the back. We can keep pushing farther and farther and help the next generations. There was a point after we had the main event of WrestleMania that I feel like WWE took several steps back. But now that Vince McMahon is gone and Triple H is at the helm, I feel we are taking steps forward again. I'm extremely encouraged by what is happening across the entire industry. Giving an update on his health amidst speculation of him returning to the ring, Booker T said this on his Hall of Fame podcast. "You know what? I gotta have something done to my right knee. I tore my PCL, my debut in the Global Wrestling Federation, and I never got it fixed, and it's come back to haunt me, and my golf game has been struggling this last year. The thing with my knee, I'm still putting it off. I put the clubs down. I'm still putting this thing off as long as I possibly can. I hate having surgeries. I know I'm gonna be laid up. My body's gonna suffer. I'm gonna get old quick. So I'm like, man, screw it. I'm gonna just ride it as long as I possibly can. I'm serious." You're exactly right. The wrestlers never get out of that frame of mind. Tape it up. I'm good. I swear, man, sometimes it hurts so bad and then sometimes it don't hurt at all. It's one of those type of injuries. So I'm like, I'm gonna just ride it until the wheels fall off. During AEW Dynamite, a fan would end up chopping MJF in the crowd as her and her father were interviewed by ABC7.
Beat up by a little girl, and she's here today. That girl, Mia, is here with her dad, Stan. I want to welcome both of you for coming in.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Mia. Big moment. It went viral. How are you feeling?
Very, very good.
Were you excited to go to the show?
Mm-hmm.
And Dad, I'm sure you guys were not expecting anything like that to happen.
No, not at all. It was a very spontaneous, spur-of-the-moment thing. She looked back at me as if to be like, am I allowed to do this? And everyone started cheering her on, so she just went at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the crowd was going wild. Did you feel like a celebrity, Mia?
Mm-hmm.
You did? Did you ever think you would be doing something like that with everybody watching you?
No.
No.
And when MJF kind of gave you a reaction, Mia, how did you feel about what he did after you gave him a little smackdown?
I'll tell you, she said, can I give him the same gesture back? And I was like, no, that's where we draw the line.
Aw.
Ospreay, the hero, at that time he was the champion. As you can see, he gave her one of his shirts.
Love it.
And she's wearing it. And
Mia, I have a feeling you might have some fans cheering you on and watching you today here on Little Rock Arc. What do you want to tell your fans before we wrap up?
Thank you for watching my video, and I love you so much. Have a good day.
Aw,
I love
very
it.
inspirational.
Very
Great
inspirational.
job. Great
Great job,
Thanks,
Mia.
Stan and Mia. We appreciate you coming on, and I can't believe you're at 10 million views. That's huge.
it's pretty cool.
I knew you before you were famous, okay?
Congratulations, y'all. That's awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
The AEW International Champion then replied, "Glad you people think it's okay to give screen time to violent terrorists." Talking about how their partnership with Reebok came together to make shoes, AEW EVPs Matt and Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks said this to Sneaker History. That was 2 years in the making, just about. We had heard they wanted to do a deal with us after our first release signature shoe with Diadora went so well. They contacted us pretty quickly after that. Right away. They had interest, and we didn't realize how long the process takes because now, 2 years later, we finally had a release. After that shoe went so well, they wanted to do something with us, and we couldn't believe it. Matt went into detail a little how we used to wear pumps back in the day, so it was full circle for us. That was bucket list. The first release was cool. cool, but Reebok is a big deal. It's a little bit bigger than what we had just worked with. I would have never thought we would have our own. I remember the beginning stages, they were like, what kind of aesthetic are you looking for? I pretty much put up an entire storyboard of ideas. I must have sent them 10 or 12 different ideas about colorways. We brainstormed. They were cool. They were open to collab with everything. I sent them old pictures of gear that we had worn just so they got an idea of what the Young Bucks aesthetic is. I want to say we nailed it down almost immediately. Within a few days, they sent me a mock-up of what they could do. I'd alter a couple of things, but we were 90% there. We knocked it out pretty quick. We hadn't heard anything. It must have been a year. Are we still doing this project? They're like, we're good. This is just how long it normally takes. I remember seeing a pair for the first time. It was one of those bucket list moments of, whoa, we had the Diana, but this is a sneaker I literally wore as a backyard wrestler in the ring. I have a picture of myself in 2002 or 2003 wearing a pair of these sneakers. To come back and do it 20 something years later and we have our own logo on there, it's one of those things where I don't know if we're ever going to be able to beat this. Discussing a potential matchup against AJ Lee in pro wrestling, NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez told Pro Wrestling Illustrated, definitely yeah, I tried to talk to CM Punk about convincing AJ Lee to return, but he tells me that he's doing the same thing. He's trying to get her to come back, he's pulling her in, but I hope one day she decides to come back and have a match with me. When it comes to an upcoming WWE debut, Ringside News wrote that Australia's Delta Brady is poised to shake up the WWE scene. According to Fightful Select's Corey Brennan, the talented women's pro wrestler has been on WWE's radar since her standout tryouts during Elimination Chamber week. Sources close to Delta revealed that after her impressive performance in February during WWE's visit to Australia, she was offered and subsequently signed a contract with the company. Despite the new deal, Delta was given the green light to complete her commitments in Australia before making the big move. Delta is scheduled to relocate to the United States this month. While her exact start date at the WWE Performance Center remains under wraps, it's anticipated that she will join NXT alongside Julia and Stephanie Vacour once she's settled stateside. Wrestling fans, get ready to welcome Delta Brady to the big leagues. Leveling an accusation against WWE and criticizing the booking of his son, Jey Uso, WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi noted on his Off the Top podcast, I have hair on the back of my neck standing up every time I watch Jey. Summerslam? Where is he? I don't know. Let's write him in. He likes mommy. That's the best the writers got. Let's write him in into a relationship with mommy. What y'all trying to do? Break his marriage up? You can't put him into a good storyline, so what you gonna do now? God forbid you guys try to tell them to tongue kiss each other on WWE Raw. That better not happen. And this was your Pro Wrestling News Update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.